It must have been the most tragic time that I have ever been through. In 2009, my mom told my little brother and I about a camp that is only for kids like us that have dealt with having a family member with cancer. That camp was Camp Kesem. That year we went to camp and I was surprised. I thought that it would be a whole week of reminders about the pain that I've gone through, but it was exactly the opposite. It was a week of fun and games to get our mind off of the pain. I met friends that know what I've gone through. After camp, I told my parents that I wanted to go to camp again. I didn't go to camp in 2010 because my mom had just been discharged from being in the hospital for 4 months, right before camp, and wanted to spend quality time with my brother and I. In 2011, my brother and I were able to attend and reunite with our friends again. This is the best camp because the pain kids go through dealing and being affected by cancer is hard. We need a way to forget about the tragic events that have occurred in our family. I will hopefully be going to Camp Kesem to reunite with my Camp Kesem family for the 4th time. With my mom currently doing better, it is now my turn to help my friends that attend and let them know that there is hope for them and they won't always feel the scared feelings and uncertainty of what they're going through. I am so thankful to all of the people that helped make it possible for all the kids with cancer and their family to attend camp. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cody Small. I am 10 years old, and the first time I went to Camp Kesem, I was 7 years old. The reason I hate cancer so much is that it scared me to watch my mom go through it and how sick she got. She wasn't able to do things with us that she normally did, like take us to the library or the park. She couldn't ride bikes with us as she once did. It really scared me because I didn't know if she would come home from the hospital. I kept hearing that she didn't have a good chance of survival. This really made me sad and hurt my feelings. The reason I love Camp Kesem is it makes me feel like I belong to a big family going through tough times together. It's always fun to go to camp and it helps me forget about the painful memories, and I'm able to make magical memories with awesome friends. One of the things I enjoy at camp is hearing my friends cheer for me on the scary rock wall. It's a scary thing for me and very challenging. It's a great feeling knowing I can conquer something I'm scared of. Words can't describe how thankful I am for the opportunity to go to camp. Thank you for all those who made it possible for kids like me to attend to Camp Kesem. It's truly magical for all of us.
Thank you so much, Cody and Kendra. If you could please help me welcome our next speaker, one of our wonderful camper parents, Miss Toledo.
Good morning, everyone. I thought I was going to do good, but those kids touched my heart because I was thinking of my own kids. Again, my name is Toledo, and I'm a mother of four beautiful, healthy children. Carito, that's how we call my oldest daughter, who's 20 right now. Ale, who's here to support me. She's 17. Jesus is 15, and Angela, 12. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. 4 years ago, my kids were in the ages of ranging from 7 years to 16 in elementary and middle school and high school. In December of 2008, I went into surgery to remove one of my breasts. That's when it all started. I remember one nurse hugging me after the surgery and telling me that it was going to be a long journey. Well, it was quite a journey. I started chemo shortly after my surgery. 6 months of chemo, to be exact. I couldn't afford to stop working. At least that's what I thought. When at my third chemo, my immune system began to shut down. I had to be taken to the hospital, hardly catching on breath. I was losing weight drastically, 8 pounds in 3 days. By that time, I had lost all my hair and eyelashes. When I got to the hospital, I got hooked on oxygen and was given lots and lots of antibiotics, potassium, and this shot to bring up my red blood cells. After the 3rd day of intensive treatment, I was able to be stable. That's when my kids were allowed to come and visit me, although they had to wear a mask every time they were near me. I remember my baby Angela that was going to be awarded at school, but I was too weak and still in the hospital to be there for her. It wasn't easy for my children to see me in those conditions. Sorry. It wasn't easy for my husband either. He started drinking more and more. So shortly after after my chemo ended, we had to separate from him. It was the best thing for both sides. We know, it's the reality that cancer can kill a person. It can destroy a family. I work at a middle school, and I just came across a young parent who I praised him because he looked very young, and told me that he wasn't the dad, that he was a brother-in-law, but had adopted his little sister-in-law due to losing 2 of her parents to cancer, 2 years apart from each other. I work at a middle school, so it's hard on an adult. Imagine what a child could go through. I'm a strong woman of faith, and I wish I could have told my kids that everything was going to be okay. I did repeat it many, many times to them, to have faith. To have faith and that everything was going to be okay. But it was like going through a long, dark tunnel on our own. I started seeking help from professionals for my kids, and we had wonderful psychologists. But it works for some kids and it doesn't for others. My son was just not opening, and he was holding a lot of anger, and but I wasn't giving up. I wasn't letting fear or cancer destroy the hopes and dreams of my children. So when I was strong enough and out of chemo, I went back to work. And scrolling down my emails, I saw an email about Camp Kesem. I look into it, I read about it, and I saw that my kids qualified for it, so I went ahead and signed them up. when the time came, my daughter Ale refused to go. But I wasn't giving up. I wasn't letting my kids go down with depression, anxiety, because those were the symptoms that some of them had developed from the fear of losing a parent. So I forced her. I pushed her to go. I remember she was mad at me. When they came back, they were transformed. My son came to me and said, "Mom, I didn't know I was holding to so much pain." And I was able to cry over there, he said. And after that, he started playing the guitar. I remember he coming back so happy and singing all the songs. And he said, "I know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna try to learn the guitar." So he opened up the websites and started playing the guitar on his own. Right now, he signed himself up. He signed himself up at his high school mariachi band. And he's in his second year of mariachi advance. Ale too, she loved it so much that she wants to join this awesome group one day. So she started focusing on her studies and grades. And for greater glory, she's in the principal's honor roll by now. My oldest daughter, Carolina, too, she was able to focus in school, and she's at her third year in college in Oregon. And Angela, she's just a bundle of joy, always wanting to help others. And she's also a very active little girl at our parish. She's an altar server and was just honored at her school last week for citizenship. She's now in the citizenship club. So I know you guys are thinking about helping this organization. If you're going to think of helping them, think big, because this is an awesome organization, Camp Kesem, making the magic. I saw those words on the board, magic, the ability to transform a heart. Now I'm convinced that raising a child, it doesn't just take a family, it takes a whole community. And we are living proof of that. My kids, from this awesome organization and from everyone that helps making this possible. Please keep giving hope to our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. That was beautiful. Now we'll be having a 20-minute intermission where we'd like to invite you to our silent auction. We are excited to introduce you to a great selection including a cruiser bike, a wine basket, Kindle, and so much more. The auction is still open for bidding, and the volunteers from the Kohl's team are present to assist you with any questions. Thank you.
Please also take this time to help yourself to more food. Restrooms are located right outside the ballroom, across the hall. We will continue with the program at 11:30.
Good morning. Is this on?
Yeah.
Macaroon Macaroon is the name that spell check turns my last name into. They told me I needed an alternative name. I said, well, spell check already has one, so we'll go with Macaroon. Then I ended up sharing a cabin with a nurse whose name was Snickers. Sounds like a candy store. I came to Camp Kesem by means of a chocolate chip cookie. I was over at the Moores Treatment Center on campus, the Cancer Treatment Center, and they had a bake sale. And so I just went to buy a cookie, because I'm just a total sucker for chocolate chip cookies. And asked them what they were, what cause they were raising money for. And then they explained it to me and showed me some pictures. I was at the Moores Cancer Center for treatment of cancer, which I found out I had less than a year before that when I fell down a flight of stairs at my daughter's graduation party in Boston head first and broke 8 bones, and was lying in the emergency room in Boston Hospital after they were doing multiple scans and x-rays, and came and told me that they had just found the most deadly kind of cancer that kills more people than any other kind, which is lung cancer. And I was like, I was on morphine, so I was kind of like, no, that would be the guy in the next booth. I'm the one that just broke her back, I'm not that one. So that was the beginning of an amazing journey for me. That all ended up taking place at UCSD, which we found because it's the best place to go for treating cancer in Southern California, probably. And so I had been through, at first they thought I had metastasized to all of my bones, because they couldn't believe I'd broken so many, so it was lighting up all over me, and they said it's, throughout your body. It was like, you better maybe think about spending the summer on a cruise instead of chemo. But I had doctors that kept saying, no, we're going to take more scans. After all, you broke a lot of things. And ultimately, they decided that I had really broken a lot of things. And they threw me into surgery, took out my lung. I spent the next 5 months in chemo. And that's why I was at the cookie sale. So they said, I said, this is a great idea. Because I worked with kids my whole life, kids who were traumatized by one thing or another. And I said, this is just what's needed. And they said, yeah, the trouble is, the camp's supposed to be in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and you can't have this camp if you don't have a therapist and a nurse. You've got to have both of those, or according to the national rules, you can't have a camp. And we have all this money. We raised $75 grand. We have all the counselors and all these kids, but we don't have a therapist. And I'm thinking, zip it. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. I was still in casts from my broken bones, and I was thinking, I'm a therapist, and I used to be the director of a camp. I was a counselor, I was a camper. I've worked with kids all my life, and I have cancer. How perfect is this a match? And I went home, and my husband's going, no, no, no. And I had 3 doctors going, out of the question, especially the head of hand surgery for UCSD had already done 2 surgeries. And he said, no, no, no. And then I found out that I had a personal connection to it because I know the family of the woman that started this whole idea, the Revay family. I traveled to Israel with her brother. And I was like, okay, it's a sign. So that's how I got involved. And one of the things, just a couple of things I wanted to talk about from a therapeutic point of view is historically, especially in our culture, we tend to, I think, try to protect ourselves and our children by minimizing some of the traumatic things that happen to them and try to move past them, perhaps faster than we should or than they're ready to. We try to shelter them. It's a natural instinct. And I've found throughout all my years of working in loss and grief and trauma that it does not serve us well, and it doesn't serve them well. I would be all for covering up loss and trauma if we could seal it away in some drawer or some part of ourselves where it would never come out. Unfortunately, early childhood trauma is a little like toxic waste that they try to put in those barrels and put the barrels in the mountains. They leak eventually over time. If they don't get dealt with, they creep out. And you find that later in life, consciously or unconsciously, people are having to work that stuff out one way or another, whether it comes around by not getting attached to people because you're afraid you'll lose them, or whether it comes from keeping separate, feeling different. There's lots of different ways that loss and trauma manifest themselves. But when we try to block the natural process of confusion and loss and grief, I think we do children a disservice. And yet, especially when you're going through it, I know when I went through the whole shock and awe of getting cancer, my kids were already grown, and I didn't have to worry about them the way I would have if they were little. But I also know that I was totally absorbed with what was happening to me my whole life. Just like, you know, everyone here who's been through it, was absorbed with staying alive and what the future held. So we need a lot of help, I think, helping bring children into this world, rather than keeping them out of it. I understand the instinct to not want children to see us like this, bald, skinny. I lost 35 pounds, you know, and yet children don't see it that way. They see themselves often as shut away, kept out of what's going on. And they get the message that it's really not that okay to talk about this. It's kind of like people who are adopted. I was adopted when I was an infant, and if you come from a family, I didn't, but if you come from a family that says you're adopted, end of subject, we never need to talk about it again, we love you, you're ours, the kid grows up feeling like, oh, I guess that's not a safe subject. And I think that happens also with cancer. A couple of examples that I learned this summer was a child who was, she knew that her dad was sick, and but had been really kept out of the loop. And then one day came home from school, got rushed off to a neighbor's house, and the neighbor kept her for like 24 hours saying that they were going to have a little party. She was going, I have to go home and tell my mom, no. Anyway, she was over there when her dad died, and then people came over and got her and said, it's over. And she went, what's over? And they kind of went, well, it's all over, but you're going to be fine, we're going to be fine. It took her, no one really told her what happened. And then she said, but I was across the street. Why didn't somebody come get me? I'm part of this family. I was like, well, because we didn't want you there. I had a camper I spent an hour with sitting under a tree who was saying, I'm never going to believe grown-ups anymore because they all lied to me. They all told me my mom wasn't going to die. Even my dad told me, the doctors told me, the minister told me. Every grown-up in my whole life lied to me about that. So I wasn't worried because they all told me, and then she died, and they knew they were lying. So, it's coming back from that position. We had a little boy who everybody, all the counselors would know. He's like a rough, tough, tumble little guy who'd come several years before. And on the night when people were telling their stories, he was outside explaining to me that he was told, he and his brother were told they had to be completely quiet because their mom was really sick. Not have any fights, not make any trouble, never make any noise around her, and they kind of forgot it one night, and they had this big fight. Somebody came in and yelled at her, and 2 days later she died. And he said to me, and I just know in my heart she would still be alive if we hadn't had that fight. So this is the kind of stuff that this camp is partially about, is a place where that kind of thing can come out. You don't want a child to spend their life, his life, feeling like, if I just hadn't had that fight, I wouldn't have killed my mom. And it's not hard to, therapeutically, from a mental health point of view, to get through children in some ways through this. The mental health community's come a long ways in the last 25 or 30 years in its thinking about trauma. And it really has pretty much got consensus on the idea of the way that you help people work through trauma is by exposure. They call it exposure therapy. It's by having it out there, being able to walk through that walk, relive that if you have to, or at least be able to talk about it and not feel it. For kids, it's very hard. If you lose a parent and everyone in the family is sad, especially the other parent, you can feel like, I can't talk about this. It's going to make my mom cry or my dad cry. I can't do that to the family by expressing my feelings. So Camp Kesem is, that's probably the biggest magic about it, is as in all kinds of fields of mental health and physical health problems, they've figured out that better than a therapist, what you can give people is each other, people who've been on that pathway. And the therapists I can't say enough. One of the things I thought about after I said I would do this, and I didn't have a lot of details about the camp, and I said, so where are the other grown-ups at this camp? I mean, it can't be just me and this nurse, right? There's other grown-up people here. No, this is a camp run by students. I go, students, you mean like medical students, 34 or 35. No, actually, they're undergrads. And I'm going, oh, man. So, like, I'm not only the most ancient person, I'm like the only. And my husband, who's a lawyer, well, he's a Superior Court judge up in North County, he goes, damn, do you know the liability you're putting yourself through? They've got it going in like 40 or 50 other colleges. It's got a track record. And then I got there, and I just can't tell you how impressed I have been with this group of people. I've never met any of the ones from other camps, but this group out of UCSD is the most. It's not just that they're dedicated and they work until they're ready to drop dead, and they're raising $80,000 and coordinating this incredibly complex thing. It's that they function from the heart at the same time as tracking all the adult responsibilities you need to do when you have the safety and responsibility for this many children. Many of them have had their own lives touched by cancer. This place is a sort of a recipe for PTSD, if you will, for them or for any of us who've been touched by it, and yet they manage to contain their own stuff and build it into the kind of empathy that only someone can give who's walked that path themselves. So they're just incredibly impressive, and they foster the environment that allows not only the fun, but the sharing. I mean, one of the stories is these two 5-year-olds that are sitting on a bench, and one of the counselors over here is one saying to the other, your mommy's only got one boobie? My mommy's only got one boobie too. I never met anybody whose mommy only has one boobie, like mine. You know, that's a 5-year-old level of like, oh, you mean I'm not really alone in this. Lots of people have bald mothers or fathers or, you know, stuff that's happened. And yet, here we all are. We have sick parents, some people only have one parent, but we're here and we're touched by something. I think for me, one of the messages that I hope to convey to them more as we develop it is that we've all been touched by this horrible thing, but in doing so, it has made us different, and hopefully we can have it make us stronger. There's a great line from Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls that says, "The world breaks everybody sometime, but afterwards some are stronger in the broken places." And that's, I think, at the core of what this is about, to take like a twig that breaks and then heals back. It always heals back stronger. So I just would like to leave you the idea that it's a great turnout today, but it's really small. Half of the people here are, like me. They come from this camp. It needs a lot of money to do this. It's very expensive. And so if everybody here goes and finds 2 more people and tells them that this is like the best bargain you could ever get for your money. These people, this is a week of sleeping on bad beds, eating bad food, drinking bad coffee, getting up at 7 in the morning and having staff meetings that go till midnight, and no one gets paid. It's all pure devotion to this cause. It is a great bargain for your buck. So get people to, get two extra people to contribute and write a check, and it will make this camp go on and on. Thank you.
Told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you. I've been there before. I'll be there for you, 'cause you're there for me too.
Been a long time coming since I've seen your face. I've been everywhere and back trying to replace everything that I had till my feet went numb. Praying like a fool that's been on the run. Heart still beating but it's not working. It's like $1 million phone that just can't ring. I reach out trying to love but I feel nothing. Yeah, my heart's numb. But with you I've seen your face. I've been everywhere and back trying to replace everything that I had till my feet went numb. Praying like a fool that's been on the run. Heart still beating but it's not working. It's like 100,000 voices that just can't sing. I reach out trying to love but I feel nothing. In my heart is numb. Feel again.
they said, we're the UCSD Tritones. We're really honored and grateful to be performing for you today. We love coming back here every year and doing what we can to help support this wonderful, wonderful camp. So I hope you continue to enjoy. To the mountain because you asked me to, up over the clouds to where the sky is blue. I could see all around me. See all around me, everywhere. Some days I look down, afraid I will fall, and though the sun shines, the peaceful valley just over the mountain. I may never get there, ever in this lifetime, but sooner or later there I will go. Sooner or later, it's there I will go.
I think I'm probably not supposed to be talking right now, but I'll keep it short because that in high school my dad passed away from lung cancer, and I ended up going to the Camp Kesem in Stanford, and it was something that kind of made me who I am today, and it was great, and I'm just so happy to see all you people here to support it, because it's a fantastic cause, I think. That being said, this next song has nothing to do with that.
Sure it does.
I'm gonna fight them all. The Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off, taking their time right behind my back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Yeah. I'm back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And the message coming from my mind says leave it alone.
Ba-da-dum,
Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum,
hey.
ba-da-dum.
Don't wanna hear about it. Every single one's got the story to tell. Everyone knows about it, yeah. From the Queen of England to the Hounds of Hell. To back my way, I'm gonna serve it to you. I'm getting what you want here, but that's what and the feeling coming from my bones is fight on. Oh, fight on. Fight on. Oh, fight on. And the message coming from my mind. And the message coming from my mind. And the message coming from my heart. Oh, leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Our last song for you guys. Feel free to sing along if you feel inclined.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart, then you can start to make it better. Hey Jude, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You were made to go out and get her. The moment you let her under your skin, then you begin to make it better. And anytime you feel the pain, hey Jude, refrain. Don't carry the world upon your shoulder. Well, you know that it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder. Na 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 na. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Start to make it better, 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 better. Whoa.
Suzuki family. He's lovingly known as Bigfoot. Please welcome Daniel Jers.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Jers. My camper name is Bigfoot for obvious reasons. Anyway, I've been going to camp for 8 years. This year's going to be my 9th and final year as a camper, and I just have to say it's been quite a ride. I went for the first time when I was 8. My mom was a victim of bone cancer in her ribs. She survived miraculously, even though it was supposed to be terminal. But she got incredible intensive care at the City of Hope Hospital, and it was a very difficult journey. It was a very long journey. It was tough on all of us, but it proved how strong my mom really is. And even as she was getting weak from all the treatment, all of the chemo and everything, and she was beginning to give up hope, she still kept on fighting. She asked for a sign from God, and she got not 1 but 2. The second she asked for that, the entire family barged in and surrounded her, gave her their comfort and support, told her to keep on fighting, told her to keep going. And so that inspired her. And that very same night too, there was a storm brewing outside. It was very windy and rainy, and it was just a really intense storm going on, and she looked out the window and there was a tree right there. There was a nest full of hummingbirds, a mother hummingbird protecting her nest. And no matter how intense the storm got, no matter how difficult it was, that mother hummingbird stayed there and protected her eggs. And she took that as a sign from God that she needs to keep fighting, that it's too important to fight to give up. And I'm extremely glad that she did. She held in there, she's still alive today, better than ever. And while she was going through that, she introduced me to Camp Kesem. She found out about this wonderful program here, and she sent me because she thought I'd have fun. And I'll bet you probably didn't think at the time that I'd be coming back for 9 years. But I just can't get enough. This camp has been a wonderful, life-changing experience for me. 1 week out of every year that I get to look forward to without fail, where I can escape, get away from my problems, go hang out with a bunch of great people who know what I've been going through, who know the struggle. And it's a week of fun, games, activities. There's always a lot of things I look forward to, like the climbing tower. There's always the night hikes and everything, all the great activities. But my personal favorite part of camp is the empowerment program, which we do in the middle of the week every year. We all gather together and share our stories as to why we're at Camp Kesem. And it's my favorite part of the week because I get to share with everyone my mom's story, and I get to use it to inspire them all, to help them in any way, if I can, with their struggle, to keep them going and inspired and know that everything happens for a reason. And so that's left a big impression on me, and every year I look forward to that. I'm really glad I get to go through that one more time as a camper. This camp just means so much to me, and it's really made a big impact on me. So I want to thank all of my fellow campers, all the counselors for making this such a big, important part of my life. Thank you.
It's her 3rd year in camp and her 2nd year as a coord member. Please give a warm welcome to Christy.
Greetings, I am Christy. Greetings, I am Christy. I speak for the counselors' stories have not been heard. My feelings about Camp Kesem are expressed through these words. Every week, 17 college students get together to discuss the matters of making Camp Kesem better. These outstanding college students plan and strategize, ensuring for years to come that Camp Kesem will maximize. With 120 precious campers in mind, Reaching $80,000 will ensure that no campers get left behind, all to make 7 out of 365 days of the entire year a week where kids can be kids without any fears. And who are these amazing people that I adore? Well, they are our very own UCSD coord board, a board that consists of 17 college students who I like to describe as dedicated, hardworking, and prudent. They all have a common goal in mind, a goal where we put the kids first in line. They plan throughout the entire year of small and big events, such as going from classroom to classroom, merely asking for donations in form of a couple of cents. But they cannot do this all alone. Therefore, they recruit the best of the best, amazing counselors who are unlike the rest. For they put in countless of hours raising money for kids they haven't even met. They work at Petco and Qualcomm's food stand, pouring beer, frying fries, and getting yelled at through drunk demands. They go door to door, begging their neighbors to buy our annual fundraiser of Julian's homemade apple pie. Believe it or not, they even go on their own recycling run, collecting bottles and cans, all for fun. But rest assured, these college students do not get paid. They volunteer countless of hours, all for kids to be unafraid. Unafraid of being alone, unafraid of everything going on at home. For what we do is all we've got in making our youthful years worthwhile, all to see these extraordinary kids smile. We do everything for these kids because it breaks our heart when we hear how the world has fallen apart. A month after my first week at camp, we were informed that 2 of our new campers' mom had recently passed. And since that day, these kids have grown up quite too fast. They're no longer the kids who are free from pain and grief, and their innocent childhood becomes utterly brief. There are no words to describe this pain when you're sitting in a room with 86 grieving campers, all sharing their tragic stories, but with no one to blame. However, these campers are the strongest of us all. With immense pain and suffering at such a young age, they have managed to heal their pain without any rage. Through it all, they are still standing tall after their first love have passed and gone, standing tall while waiting for the certainty of their loved ones, standing tall at age 5, knowing that their only mom or dad are no longer alive. Parents, I have always wondered how your kids have known such strength, and I've come to realize that it's due to your unconditional love that goes beyond the length, your determination to keep fighting on after all the struggles you've stumbled upon. It's wonderful to see the unconditional love that you have for your children, since the love from a parent will always be 1 in a million. And after all you've been through, it is an honor to be here with you. My heart goes out to those who lost someone to cancer. It's tough to hearing that one word and knowing there isn't a concrete answer. Randy Posh, one of cancer's beautiful victims, once said, "We can't change the cards we are dealt, just how we play the hand." Once we lose someone dear to us, it is something we can't bear to stand. But these campers have taught me that through all the pain, we must push on, for we have much more to gain. Life is about how we react in a situation, and these kids have made me come to a realization that although they're still young and new to the world, pain and suffering have impacted these boys and girls. But the moment you meet these adorable campers, you'll never guess they have been affected by cancer. I'm happy to say they found a way to cope, all due to Camp Kesem giving them hope. I stand here in front of you all today in hopes that you understand that Camp Kesem is more than just a way to merely send these kids to a week of camp. It is more than just you and me. It's allowing these kids to be free. Free from fears, lost in the unknown, allowing them to overcome all they've known. Camp Kesem is magical due to its love that we're all proud of, the love that the kids for the kids and the counselor, the love that exceeds beyond a week of summer, the phenomenal love the kids have for their parents, and the unconditional love the parents have for their children. Love that is in this room due to a heartbreaking cause, love that is gone but is not lost. It is something I like to call Kesem Love. It is a love that is greater than anything you can think of. It will forever be engraved in my heart, for this love instills hope in us whenever we fall apart. Thank you for letting me share this poem. I hope you will all take this special love home. For the love of these kids, please tell all your friends and family how these miraculous college students have managed to turn this tragedy into a kid's very own magical Netherlands so rapidly. I hope you understand from what I've stated above what I mean whenever I say Kesem Love. Thank you.